Hi, Darren.
Hi.
How are you?
How you
Long
doing,
time no
Soonja?
see. Tell me what you've been doing after the session.
I believe we had our session 2 months ago. Was it 2 months ago?
Already?
Two? I've been really inspired by our session. The session really confirmed and at the same time really gave me a lot of new insight about not only just my life, but about life in general, about how to live really. It's a beautiful session, and because obviously you know me from our conversations, I've been so interested in the metaphysical, in all of the ancient mysteries, in the mysteries of and also just in general with just the unknown. And being an artist, it is very intriguing, very inspiring to always being, especially being a musician, being the frontiers of the unknown, because to make music is to close your eyes and to hear. But when
Mm,
you really hear and listen, you're imprisoned with the sonic frequencies that these harmonics brings to you. And all of that just gave you the true vision to see what is truly there. It is very interesting because yesterday I was just watching Avatar. Just want to go back there, watch the Avatar movie with James Cameron.
mm,
And in Navi, the native people, they say, I see you. But not
mm.
just I see your body, but I see your soul, I see inside of
Yeah.
you.
Mm.
Exactly.
Beautiful findings that since the session, eh? I mean, you're
Yeah,
already very in tune with your feelings and everything, but more in the auditory sense, right?
exactly. I think that's something that always pushes me forward, but it always come to me in a more of a mystical experience, but especially by understanding, by doing past life regression and also getting into Dolores Cannon, and just it's really just an interest, like in the end of the day, me, at least for me, I'm looking, it's like, how some people, they look at a certain religion as their salvation, as their, oh, my life is different, but it's not really that big of a change in that sense. Like it's kind of like dollar ticket. Like you take it and you don't think too much about it, but at the same time, you're just living life, and then it's somehow the little things, they always come back to you here and there, and it's like, oh, you're more at peace that way.
Wow, that is really deep, huh? You find the peace in your heart. Wow, such a young age, right?
Well, yeah, I have experienced quite a lot in my life, so I would like to say my life experience is very interesting. Whatever my soul chose to do before this life has definitely reached a point where now it's about spreading that love, spreading that life. And speaking of that, I called my family. I spoke to my father, my mother, my father especially, who I have a really bad relationship with
Mm,
due to our misunderstandings and due to the culture structure, the background of where he was raised, where I was raised, and our family history. And but being able to just, I called him and I just said, "Hey, Dad, I want to be your best friend," and I just called to say I love you. You know,
wow.
knowing that he just need that. He doesn't care, like, because my dad, the thing about, he's very intelligent man. He always wants to share all these things, but realize he's just human. We are all just human, and sometimes he wants to share all that with me, like kind of treat me like unquote unquote like he's trying to share knife knowledge with, but sometimes I really just wants to relax and just chill with the old man, and I think most kids just want that too, and just really being a friend and be like, hey, what's up, bro? In that sense,
So what did he,
is
how
to
did he respond to when you say, I love you, I want to be your friend, and chill it out, kind of, how was his response?
Oh, he at first I call him. He looked very stressed. He's like,
Ah,
oh, like who's? calling me, and he's like, "Oh my God, what does my son want? What does he wants to talk to me for? It hasn't been good conversations previously."
Mm,
And I just smiled and like, "Hey, Dad, I love you. I just called you to say I love you, and I know you probably are busy. It's like middle of the noon. He must be busy, and then you can go back to do whatever you're doing on work, and I'll see you soon." And then, but then immediately his face just relaxed, and the joy came to his mouth, face, and the lips and
yes.
everything. He smiled.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Darin. What else happened other than that?
Wow, it's and I my really just and I also reconnected with my grandfather.
Oh, you mean
My grand
grandpa's still alive?
Yes, my grandfather is alive.
Oh, how was that? Tell me.
He he told me a lot of interesting stuff. And my grandfather, he lived his life very carefree as an artist. He made a
Mm,
lot of decisions, and the same time he made a lot of he accomplished a lot, both as in his own career, in like on in his financially, and in a very much sense.
oh,
And he felt the need to share some of his experiences, because even though a lot of people view my grandfather as this this powerful person, but my grandfather, he loves to paint, and I
mm,
learned how to paint at a young age with him. And then to me, my grandfather is always just the one who taught me the way of how to become an artist, how to see things in an artistic perspective, not to be bothered by the material, but to see the truth that's hidden beneath the lies, which is painting in itself. Because painting, in the end, is all very subjective. I imagined this, therefore I drew it. It's not the actual image that it's quote unquote the truth, but the truth lies beneath that imagery. It's rather the feeling that comes with that image. What feeling does it evoke? What am I trying to tell you? And knowing that really impacted me and really showed me how to become a musician, how do you make music. The way I approach music is the same way as a painter would. Every line, every shade, every color, it's trying to tell you a specific story, trying to make a statement. Um, Either going with convention or going against convention, but in the end of the day, it's trying to represent the youth, the children, the refreshingness of it. And that's what makes art to me very beautiful. It's You're always just a child. You always feel like you're a child and just scribbling, doing nonsense. But the more you find harmony within that nonsense, the more beautiful and more enjoyable and more deeper you grow, especially as a human being. Like, for me to experience all these things I have experienced in my life, I have to really translate that into my art. And I would not make the type of art that I'm making now if it's not for my life experiences.
wow, you are so lucky. You have a grandpa as your mentor, and he has been grooming you to be the most beautiful musician in this life. Very beautiful. Excellent. So how's with your mom? Did you did you make a loving connection with your mom?
Oh, thank you, Sunja. You're way too kind to say that. And I really have to really grateful for that. Most importantly, is to realize, my family is not to have all these support as a family member, and to always and right now am to realize that some of my friends, some of the people that I know actually don't have these support, and how fortunate and lucky, how grateful I am for that. It's just very to realize these things, and to realize all of it is coming out of love and only love, even though sometimes people might not be to express it the adequately in a eloquent manner. Like, some people sometimes they get frustrated, but because we're all just children inside of us, that child that child inside of us is always there, and then sometimes we manifest that to others because subconsciously we're passing down these karma. And as with my mother, she is I really, when I was talking to her, I always viewed my mother for the longest time as this superwoman that raised me when we were just in Canada by myself, raised me and my brother, even though she's currently now in China with the family. But for the longest time, especially when I was growing up, she was just it was me, my mother, and my brother, my little brother, who's 11 years younger than me, so a baby, an infant at that time. She was just raising both of us, living as a single mother, not having just by herself. And so I always looked at her as she's a very strong, powerful woman. But now having this broader perspective and to not be with her all the time, I really get to see that my mother, in a way, is just a child also. No matter how strong she can emit, how much divine femininity she has within her, but sometimes she's just wants to relax, and she can be tired and worry sometimes too. And it's to really care for that, for my mother and for my father, for everybody in my family, and to see that aspect, and to now have the ability and have the conscious conscious realization to realize that, and to really love and be okay with that. Because as the longest time that I try to do to myself and therefore to others is trying to reinvent, trying to change, trying to improve. Like, I guess, coming from an Asian culture, you always hear like, "Oh, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You have to keep getting better." And in a way, sure, we look at that ourselves. We can get better, and we sure there's something maybe we're not doing right. Like sometimes maybe I shouldn't eat that chocolate. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should be nicer to my friends. Maybe I shouldn't be as lazy sometimes. But at the same time, can be. But if you look that to others, you're judging others. You're judging others as how you would judge yourself, and that's not fair because in a way you're interfering with free will. And that's how I look at it. And then to interfere with free will, people have to agree with you to make sure that free will can be executed. Like if you're in a basketball team and your coach is pushing you to do harder because you agree to have him as a coach, so his push and motivation will do good to you. But in some cases, especially to family members, and especially we're born into this Confucian family where the hierarchy of family, it's so important that sometimes orders from a senior become absolute. And then absolute order really, especially now for a lot of kids growing up in the West, no longer in China, or in Korea, in Japan, in Southeast Asia, in the old world, but now growing up in the West, seeing the idea of individuality, we a lot of us really questions why, like, just the kid in me always questions why this, why that. I think that's what led me to you. That's what led me to, quantum healing. That's what led me to Dolores Cannon, is to question why. Like, is this just who we are? Like, and so sometimes we might have conflict, but it's for me, it's to realize, oh, okay, I can do that to myself, but I can try to, but in order to do that to others, I have to love. I have to, like, because I do that because I love myself. So, but because I will never try to kill myself, in the sense, like, subconsciously, even if I were to commit suicide, I'm still trying to love myself because I want to get out of this world. So, but others might not know that because there are evil in this world. Sometimes there are people who don't understand these things, who don't understand that love truly exists, who don't understand the manifestation and the way that how love works. And they might do a lot of things to others, and but because that concept exists, people become more fearful. It's like it manifests as fear across the global scale. So even to that, even to your best friend, even to your father, to mother, they're all in a way products of their environment. And so for me to have the fortunate possibility to see things in a global perspective due to the way that I was raised and the places that I have been. I really realized that is to take a back seat, it's take a back seat to free will and to really surrender myself to love and in a way to the higher power, to God, to Allah, to the universe, to the source. Like the name itself doesn't matter, just like Isis, the ancient goddess, she had thousands of names too. Names itself, no matter what you call it, it's that feeling behind the name.
So how did you express your love to your mom?
I caught her. I caught her the same. I caught her. I said the same thing. I said, "I love you, mother. This is what I'm doing. This is what I have been doing." And my mother, she's very, in a way, she could be a little. She likes to be a little bit sarcastic. That's my mother. That's what I realized. And I don't. I really. I don't. And I guess I don't like that from like in a way. But at the same time, I realize that's my mother, and I'll play along with her. But I can't play along with her too much because she needs to be protected too because she's my mother. And then so it's fun to now be able to play with my family,
Mm,
to no longer confronting my family, but
mm,
to now in a place we can just all make joke, laugh at each other, laugh with each other. And that's the truly beautiful thing that I
mm.
have been working on, I have been realizing more than anything. And especially that translates to my work. You know, I remember Picasso, one of my greatest idols, Pablo Picasso, the painter, he said that an artist must always be working and be in a constant struggle and in constant chaos. He must be the one, something like he must be the one that always sees that chaos and that truth underneath whatever is materialized. But at the
Mm.
same time, he himself must have great solitude to translate that into his work because without inner peace, none of that will be possible. But to have the inner peace, you first have to see all the chaos that exists, and that is the difficulty of truly accomplishing a great work, a great masterpiece, as he say it. And I think I'm on a pathway to really both have constant chaos with me, so I'm always inspired, but at the same time always find that inner peace.
So what kind of work have you been doing recently? I know that you are doing a lot of stuff, right?
Yes,
So what
yes,
kind of, yeah, go ahead.
I've been in a very creative space. I've
Mm.
been recording mostly because the thing is, I've written more than, really more than 60 songs since during this pandemic. Because
60 songs?
really,
Are you talking
definitely
about
more.
60?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a lot.
that is a lot. And I'm not just talking about like songs as in like a tune, but rather songs with structure and with the right progression and the harmonics with it.
Wow.
So but I have that. I'm really old school. I really like to, let me show you something. I really love
Yes,
to write,
please. That would be
like
fun
I
to
love
listen.
to write the way that I usually, that just very old school, and I love to write like this. I love to just have
Oh,
all
yeah, yeah.
everything down in a
Uh-huh.
paper.
Yes, sir.
So it really helped me clears my mind.
Mm.
So it's very easy to write that down. But right now, everything is digital. Everything needs to be, properly digital transferred. And really right now, I've just been working on transferring that everything into digital and to really execute it. Because by doing that, you realize, oh, there are some mistakes. There's some part that could be changed. There's some part that
That's
could
so
be better.
true.
Yeah, yeah. And then as a musician, especially somebody who does a lot of different aspect in music, such as for me, producing, songwriting, and arranging, and most importantly for me, singing. I love to sing. That's the biggest thing, most important thing I want to do is to have that vocal freedom ability to express myself. And
Yeah, they worked on your vocal cord, didn't they?
yes, yes, during
In
the
the
higher
session,
side.
right? So how is the difference that you feel since the healing?
I think it's not really a difference, but it's more of a realization
What do you mean?
because it's So during the session, our higher voice, my higher self came, and he was speaking down on my lyrics and my throat to a point where I never accessed before. And
Oh,
it was very, I cannot imitate it to even now.
very deep. Yeah.
It was like it's at my heart.
Mm,
I'm speaking from my heart. And I know to just express it is even so surreal to me. It's really that feeling. I still remember it. And very interesting thing is my vocal coach, who to me is arguably one of the best vocal coach ever lived, due to his all the knowledge he know and everything he have done just studying the voice. So one of the things that we usually talk about is the lyrics being stabilized through
mm.
suspension, through the different registers. Most importantly, the chest register, where it allows, where is it's the might of the vocal voice. It's
Yes.
where you talk. It's where the pinching of the vocal folds really taking place.
Mm,
And the ability that in a way is to stabilize lyrics and to make sure you're singing, you're not rising. Your
mm.
vocal cords are not rising, they're stabilized. So
Oh,
essentially the pitch and the vowels are being manipulated through the muscles that's this entire muscle
mm,
surrounding it. And very interesting thing is the more stable you are, the better you sing essentially. The more not or the better you can sing. Obviously you still need a lot of conceptual understandings. Um, but that's very
maybe
so
you
very
can demonstrate a little bit so that I can understand better what you're talking about.
um sure, yeah. I
You're saying
think
that's stable, right? Not the fluctuation. The
it's
voice
really
has is
really
stable.
very easy to demonstrate. It's as like if you're just doing if you are just if you're singing, like if you're even just with talking, because the voice essentially works the same thing. So if you're just doing yeah, you can see how just by the way I position my lyrics and the way I use my chest voice, it's a completely different texture. You know, one is very thinned out, and one
Mm,
is deep, powerful,
yes.
like operatic. You know, like a
Mm,
very operatic. They really focus on. That's the whole idea of opera, is to develop. It's to make sure all voices are fully developed. Like everybody is a bodybuilder in that sense. Like super strong muscles, have deep a lot of talking. Usually talking is more just like haha, hello on the lips, hello,
mm,
hi, how you doing. But most importantly than anything is the voice reflects more than anything a person's soul and its motion,
mm,
right? To access that deep of a vocal fold and to stabilize it to that degree, it's very vulnerable because you have to let go of every resistance, every other
oh,
muscle that's trying to help that's not using it.
mm,
If you let all that go, and in a way, my higher self was telling me to let that go, which really assisted and really helped with my development. Because ever since my development has been really rapid and really important as I've unlocking and realizing more and more things just as I go along. So it's like it put something, it planted a seed. It's like what I really realized is the idea of planting the seed. You know, it's just being a good gardener. You know, it's planting this tree and it's I know it's gonna grow, but it's always it's watering it a little bit. It's telling me, hey, don't worry, because I'm always like I'm watering it every day, but how come sometimes it's not growing as fast as I want? But the higher self is like, hey, I planted the seed, I visualize it. You see it now? It's right there. Don't worry. And just that whole reassurance and that's just showing me that both visually and sonic visual, like physically, like we both heard it. That is everything. You know, that gave me, that erased all the doubt that I had, which not much pertaining to that, but still, even just that little bit, like the more I'm certain, the more I'm confident and know that I'm always confident in that sense, but the more clear-minded. the more enjoyable the journey is, because
Mm,
I believe he also said it's just time we have to experience. Just have time, just time. And so to experience that time in a peaceful manner is to truly experience time for me.
mm. Yeah, you look really kind of calm and serene. That's the information I'm getting from you. And nothing disturbs you. It's nice and calm. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, but it's like you're so calm, but at the same time, it reminds me of a Japanese samurai. You're in like a big storm, but you're so calm and you're just meditating and playing with the katana. You're just always you're dancing with the sword. It's that energy that I'm really feeling.
Wonderful. So I'm just wondering that your dreaming seems to be a little bit, what do you call it, prophetic, or a lot of images coming to you, something like that. So maybe you can share some of them if you want.
Yes, yes. I we talk about this. We just there's a lot of I do meditation every morning, every night. Sometimes I lose myself in it. It goes for an hour and a
Mm,
half, sometimes like and really right now but during these meditations I see a lot of imagery, a lot of visual pertaining to mystical experiences, as in I've I've seen the pyramid, I've seen the cross, I've seen my most recent one. I actually don't have it with me, but it's 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 a it's like it really it gives me inspiration for me to make it's telling me it's the music for the future, and that is that symbol, and it's telling me to
mm,
capture that. It's very vivid because you see it once and you never forget that, and that feeling always come back to you.
mm,
But the most important one is the one that the first time that I truly become conscious of
mm.
these imageries with our past life regression session, which I saw this symbol and we called it new.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
So have
yes.
you been trying that thing in your meditation or something?
No, no, I have not done so.
Mm.
But I've done, remember I think I talked to you about this.
Yes.
I saw the symbol not knowing what it is.
Mm,
And then couple weeks later, I tell my Islamic friends about this, and it's one of the calligraphy way to write the name of Allah. It's the name for
mm.
God in Islam in
Oh,
Arabic.
okay.
And me never seeing it once, never consciously realizing that is
Mm.
what it is. Like it could be anything. It could have been anything to me, but it was shining. So it was right in the middle where I see it, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was coming closer and closer to me, and it was shining. There was golden, and the background was golden, but the light was so bright. It was
Mhm.
shining. One of my sessions, I've seen. Let me see if I can show you anything. I've seen myself stand the cross. The most importantly is the cross.
Oh, what was the occasion that has to do with the cross? Not in the past life you had, right? Is
No,
it
it was one of the
relate? Huh? Go ahead.
it was one of the meditations.
Oh, okay, okay. Any meaning why you saw so many cross?
Uh, I suppose it's the energy I guess it's what it tells me is the energy that the cross itself now carries.
What kind of
It's
energy did you feel?
it was the Christ energy,
Which is?
which is energy of
Mm,
total love and acceptance.
mm,
Really, the idea of acceptance more than anything. It's to accept and to embrace and to love. And I can't even close my eyes and see it. Seeing
Mm. Any colors that you saw from that image of cross?
it was now it's really similar. It's goldenish,
Mm.
golden, and then it's very bright, shiny.
Okay.
Every
Yeah.
around like its aura is very shiny.
Mm.
Hmm.